talk about an important team's pride in the conference. Need a couple wins down the stretch. And then how are they going to get those wins? And then you go Keys, and then I'll say something, and then stats. He wanted to, maybe he would have. Maybe he would have hyped him up so that you didn't go to, yeah. No, maybe he did that so you wouldn't go talk to the coach and say he's not playing. That would be so dumb. All right, here we go. I think it's the new video. They played before.
Just turn it up on the Hornet. We're not going to be on camera, right?
No.
Looks like we are not tonight. I am okay with that.
Pump fake again. Winter break is over, and students are back at the University of Lynchburg, and they couldn't be back for a better matchup, a cross-city matchup between the visiting Randolph Wildcats and the home Lynchburg Hornets. Andrew Watson alongside Sam Graham. This is a very important game for both teams, obviously sitting near the bottom in the conference. However, they are all only a half a game back from that final spot into the conference tournament. Obviously, it's an important game. What do you think both of these teams need to do in order to find a win here today?
Well, yeah, I mean, you've already touched on it. You really can't overstate how big of a game this is. First off, with the rivalry piece, and Coach Hamilton for Randolph, he's experienced both sides of it. He said it's, uniquely special to him because he was part of the very first graduating class on this Randolph men's basketball team. Now, of course, leading them as the coach. So different kind of aspect for him. And then, yeah, looking at it in the conference aspect as well, you got Shenandoah in that 10 spot, and then three teams in Eastern Mennonite, Randolph, and Lynchburg all tied, just a half game behind. Lynchburg gets to play them all. So that conference standing sheet, and in terms of who gets into the ODAC postseason, that's really going to heat up. But looking at this game in particular, got a couple of keys. We'll start on the Lynchburg side of things. Coach Scott emphasized this himself. He said we got to limit turnovers, something that, kind of midway through the season, they started to do a little bit better at, paring down those turnovers. Last couple games, those numbers have gone up a little bit. Also want to defend the perimeter. Quite a few three-point shooters. We're actually not sure if Randolph's star, Danny Bickey, is going to play tonight. He's not listed among the starters, so we'll have to wait and see. But even if he doesn't, you've got a guy in Jordan Phillips McLeod who's pretty much just as dangerous off the ball, off the dribble and from behind the three-point line with 47 on the year. And then on the Randolph side of things, I mean, a lot of it does revolve around Bickey, so it'll be really interesting to see if he plays, averaging over 20 points a game in his last three contests against Lynchburg. And outside of that, don't settle for jumpers, get paint touches, get close to the rim. Lynchburg doesn't have a lot of size, especially when you look at those top minute guys, other than maybe a Trey Pittman at 6'7". Randolph can really exploit a lot of those matchups down low.
Yeah, and even if Danny Bickey isn't playing, obviously you touched on it, Randolph has the scoring somewhere else, and on paper, both of these teams are very, very even. We'll take a look right here. Randolph, 75 points per game. Lynchburg, only 69, but not too much of a difference between them. And obviously very important that Lynchburg basically controls their own destiny down the stretch if they can make the conference tournament or not. And I think a key tonight is if they can just take quality shots. They usually shoot 38%. If they can raise that around 45, 50%, they're going to be in a really good spot to pick up a win here in this conference matchup.
Yeah, Lynchburg's got a lot of guys that are capable really from anywhere on the floor, but particularly from three. It's just going to be, can you put it all together on one given night? This is a fantastic opportunity to kind of jumpstart your season as you really head down the stretch, so we'll see what they've got for us.
Yep, and when we come back, we'll check out the starting lineups and get this game underway. You are watching ODAC basketball on LHSN.
At Lynchburg, we don't fear change. We embrace it in our students, on our campus, in our community, and around the world. We're building on our legacy of always moving forward. It's the same place with a new name. Welcome to the University of Lynchburg.
A lot of people go to the universities to find something to be a part of while getting their education. And when you come here, Lynchburg is that something, it becomes a family. It's what this school's really good at doing.
Welcome back inside Turner Gymnasium. As lineups are getting underway, we might as well tell everyone out there who is starting this game for both sides. First off, for Randolph College, Jordan Phillips McLeod, the junior guard from Johnson City, Tennessee. Then Ty Klingerman, the senior guard. Then Cole Perry, number 11, followed by number 13, Landon Wagoner. And rounding out that starting five, Jerry Goodman. Now, we did just get a little bit of news. Danny Bickey, who we were so high on in the pregame, is injured tonight, and we most likely will not see him on the court. So Lynchburg going to need to figure that out and change their game plan. But speaking of Lynchburg, we'll check out their starting lineups as well. First off, the senior from Virginia Beach, Virginia, Kavon James, followed by number 4, another senior, Alex Fitch. Then 2 juniors, Trey Pittman and Miles Taylor, followed out by the star freshman from Lynchburg, Pearson Young.
Yeah, and we'll kind of, a few interesting things on both sides. Bickey's the big one. We'll get around to that. On the Lynchburg side of things, really interested with this particular starting lineup. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe this is the first time all season that neither Kuda Savage nor Landon Sutton has started for the Hornets. Not really a true point guard that will man the one for this Lynchburg team coming out of the jump. Must be something that Coach Scott likes matchup-wise.
Yeah, and it might just be because they found out about Bickey not playing. Obviously, Kuda Savage would give you that speed on the perimeter. We know that player would have ran around like he was Steph Curry, as we joked, but I mean, maybe they don't need that speed anymore, and they just need a size and athletic guard that Kavon James can provide. And Pearson Young also, we can't forget about him. I mean, also he's a great scorer, but he can go on the defensive end and get stops for himself. So Lynchburg, they're going with a little bit of a bigger lineup in terms of Pittman, Taylor, Fitch, Pearson, and Kavon James, but it's definitely going to be a good matchup on either side. Both these teams are very similar in terms of where they get their points from.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Kavon James, he's going to need every single bit of whatever speed, athleticism, energy he's got, because he's most likely going to be tasked with keeping up with Jordan Phillips McLeod. He runs the one for this Randolph team, and my goodness, is he shifty. He is a quick guard, and he will be a matchup nightmare. See Kavon James already playing up close on him.
You see here Jerry Goodman at the top of the key calling for a screen. Instead, he'll drive baseline. Turn around. Great defense by Pearson Young with 10 on the shot clock. Perry kicks it out. 3 no good there from Ty Klingerman, and an opening stop for the Hornets. They'll go the other way.
I want to go ahead and just jump out and just credit Kavon James. He was in the back pocket of Phillips McLeod that entire possession. That's a guy that's made 47 threes on the year. Cannot lose him in coverage.
Trey Pittman getting a shot that he usually likes, not falling for him there, but definitely a welcome sign to see he has a little bit of advantage in the paint and gets an open shot like that. We'll see if Lynchburg can capitalize on that later on. Phillips McLeod, good pump fake. Kavon James, great defense, forces that ball out. Here's Goodman driving on Pearson Young, and Young will be called for the foul. Goodman just a little bit too quick there, driving from the top of the key, getting downhill.
Well, man, I tell you what, we haven't really talked about the records of these two teams yet. We did talk about where they fall in the standings. Definitely things not starting out how each of these teams would have wanted to. Combined 9 wins between the two of them. You would not know it if you walked into this building right now. This is the most packed I have seen Turner Gymnasium probably since the Code Red against Mary Washington to begin the year.
Yeah, and you touched on it earlier. Head coach for Randolph, Pete Hamilton, just talked about how important this matchup was, even though, both teams not having the best season. Experiencing this kind of environment against a conference rival and a cross-city rival at that is just a very important experience for this Randolph team. Quick three there, no good from Landon Wagner. Rebound for the Hornets. Here's James driving. Loses the handle, but there's going to be a foul called on Wagner.
Yeah, and Wagner opting for the three there. That's a guy that does a great job playing inside and out. He can really stretch the floor. A couple of guys on this Randolph team really that does that excellently, for lack of a better word. So definitely going to be a tough matchup. Trey Pittman will likely be on him at least at the outset of this. Might see Mason Makovic try and match up with him later, but that'll be one to watch.
Fitch will take the open three and knock it down, and the foul.
Well, Alex Fitch, things have really turned around for him in the last couple of games. Missed a few games early, didn't really have the start to the season that you imagine he would have liked. Double digits in the last 2 games, averaging 13.5 points per game on 46% from the field. Knocks down a three to get his night going there.
Yeah, and a contested three at that. Obviously, if you're going to knock down a three with a hand in your face and take the foul, definitely a very good sign for the Hornets. 4 points in 1 possession. It can't get much better than that.
And that's not the way you'd normally draw up getting to the foul line, but nonetheless, Lynchburg does that and capitalize on it, something they're really good at. 11 of their top 13 guys, when you look down the minutes roster, are 70% or north when it comes to the line.
So we'll see an offensive foul here. I believe it was called on Jordan Phillips McLeod. And a quick 2 fouls for that one guard for Randolph. And we're going to have to see how they can scramble and set something up. Phillips McLeod will check out, and Kyle Ferguson will check in for the first time in this matchup. Taylor guarded almost full court here by Klingerman. He does have the height advantage and will hand it off to James on the near side wing.
Well, yeah, Miles Taylor has that height advantage, but I tell you what, this Randolph staff, they could not be higher on Ty Klingerman. They call him Murph. It's an affectionate nickname, Pittman with the jumper, but earlier in the season, this Randolph team played William Peace. William Peace, their star player, Timothy Pettiford, he stands at 6'4". They switched Ty Klingerman, who stands at 5'10", on him in the second half, held him to just 3 points after Pettiford went for 18 in the first half, so he will not shy away from a defensive matchup.
Yeah, so a very important thing for Randolph, knowing that's out there here tonight. And obviously you saw right there a three fired up by Randolph was no good, but tipped out of bounds, and Randolph has the offensive possession. Here's a quick three from Klingerman, front iron, no good. Pittman there. We touched on it earlier with, I believe it was Wagner taking that shot. Not exactly a three-point shooter, as Pittman misses there from just past the free throw line. He's 1 for 3 to start the game.
Yeah, pace of play here early looks like the Lynchburg team we saw earlier in the season, but really just a ton of energy from both sides. Actually like the decision there from Fitch to take it inside with a dribble. Yeah, defense closes out on him, but that's a guy that's a little bit trigger happy at times, so nice to see him looking for the best possible shot. And
let's be honest, Randolph in the early going has kind of looked like they're trying to push the ball maybe a little bit too much. Maybe a plan for the Hornets coming out in this game to maybe make them push. Here's Taylor inside, has that height advantage. Mid-range jumper, rims around, hits the backboard and goes in. It's an 8-0 lead for the Hornets. A dream start for Hillary Scott's team. Randolph down early, inside, and a turnover there. Wagner couldn't handle the pass. James, now Fitch, in transition. No good, ball will go out of bounds off of that three, but a welcome shot. I could imagine this place would have gone absolutely wild if that shot had found the bottom of the net.
That was one of those, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. That's one of those you just felt the air, everybody taking that collective breath. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Roof would have come off this place if Fitch had hit that.
Rayvon Graham checking in for the first time for the Wildcats. Perry kind of trapped with the ball here. He'll find Wagner, and he'll travel. You talked about it earlier, Wagner can play on both levels, but for a guy who came into this game shooting just 1 for 9 from behind the arc, now 1 for 10, I think Pittman would welcome him catching the ball on the perimeter and almost kind of making him create a shot for himself. And if not, we'd be perfectly happy letting a guy who shoots 10% take a three. Taylor running a lot of point in the early going as Kevon James fires a three, no good. Fight for a rebound between two teammates there. Graham pushing it for the Wildcats. James was there, now here's Ferguson for three, no good. Randolph still yet to get on the board, as here's Pearson Young, now drops it off to Taylor.
Talk about that dream start for Lynchburg. Yeah, on the scoreboard, up 8-0, also up 3-0 in the turnover battle, and that's a big point with both of these coaches. For Coach Hamilton, he said, first and foremost, we need to limit turnovers, something we struggle with. They also struggle a little bit forcing turnovers. And Coach Scott said the exact same thing. We talked about it in the pregame as they're on cue. Wagner knocks down the triple.
Making me eat my words. And at the end of the day, I think if you're Coach Hillary Scott, that's still a shot you would welcome him to take. But maybe he's listening to the broadcast right now. I'm not sure it's completely legal if he has an AirPod in. But Young looked for the response. No good. Rebound, Kyle Ferguson going the other way. Lynchburg has kind of settled for a couple of three-pointers ever since getting out to that hot start. As Pittman, a great defensive possession there with the block on Wagner. But maybe trying to get it inside, using that advantage that Miles Taylor has, or even Alex Fitch has, getting it inside and not settling for three-point jumpers every time down the floor would be helpful.
Andrew, I dare say, and this is just my analysis, we are going to see a lot of three-point attempts tonight.
And half of that has to do with the pace, and I think maybe that's just what this gym has become. You saw the women's game last time out. If you guys tuned into that one, Lynchburg picked up a win against conference rival Averett. They knocked down 13 threes in that game. Maybe the men kind of picking up on that, picking up on maybe some of the women's practice schedules in terms of shooting the ball, and maybe they'll start shooting it a little bit better from behind the arc as well. But Cole Perry's going to head to the line.
Yeah, I tell you what, Brooke Kaysen and Macy Mullins combining for 11 of those 13. That was quite the game to watch. Just a clinic from deep.
Cole Perry, a 52% free throw shooter. He'll knock down the first. And Lynchburg really could have blown this game wide open. I think they had a lot of opportunities to get the ball inside. Obviously, Pittman missed one or two shots that you would honestly want him to take. A mid-range jumper is basically his game. But we see a couple of different changes here. Jalen Hargrove checks in for the first time, and Jordan Parham also for the Hornets. Just 5 minutes in, a couple changes already.
Well, and I really love Lynchburg getting Pittman a few of those looks here early on. That's a guy that middle of the season, he would just burst onto the scene. I mean, arguably playing at an all-ODAC type level. Last 5 games, he struggled a little bit, so great to get him those looks as early as possible.
Here's Taylor at the top of the key, now James. Inside to Hargrove, guarded by Verling. The right-handed layup is good. Jalen Hargrove has a couple good games this year. Well, he just gets it inside and turns it up, showing off how he can do it once more. Here's Perry at the free throw line. Finds Graham. Graham guarded by Parham, spinning, gets to the free throw line, looks for something else as he picks up his dribble. Instead, he'll kick it out to Ferguson. Ferguson, now Verling, now Perry. Inside to Verling, great cut, and a great block and response from Miles Taylor. They'll push the other way. Kevon James, an open three. No good off the side iron. Rebound, Cole Perry. A quick pass up to Verling, tipped around out of bounds. Off of Jalen Hargrove, says the official. Head coach Hillary Scott did not agree with that one. He wanted that ball to go back towards the Hornets. So we will see a couple of changes. But before that, we'll take a little bit of a break. 10-5, Lynchburg starting off hot. 14 to go here in the first half. We'll take a bit of a break on LHSN.
I'm Warner Baxter, and I'm a CEO against cancer.
And I'm Lon Kruger, and I'm a coach versus cancer.
I'm Danielle Musselman, co-chair of the Coaches vs. Cancer Wives and Friends team.
Cancer screening is safe, effective, and should be a regular part of your life.
Talk to a doctor about what screening tests are right for you.
The American Cancer Society has important screening resources you can reference at cancer.org.
At cancer.org.
Cancer.org/get-screened.
Regular cancer screening can save your life.
Welcome back inside Turner Gymnasium, where Lynchburg has an early 10-5 lead just 6 minutes into this contest. And Sam, Lynchburg seemed to have many opportunities to really blow this game open and extend this lead more than 5. Nothing doing yet for them, but obviously a hot start for them, wouldn't you think?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And they get out to that 8-0 run to start the game. And, yeah, there's been a few missed opportunities, a couple times that they've looked to force something. I mean, Pearson Young kind of trying to work that baseline. I don't hate that attempt and trying to draw contact. We know they want to get to the free throw line. But obviously when the foul doesn't get called, that turns into kind of a bad shot. But how about the defensive end for Lynchburg? I mean, what is this, the 5th or 6th game that you and I have called for Lynchburg this year? I don't remember a game so far this season where I've seen this sort of intensity on every single possession defensively. They are playing like a team in a must-win game.
And I think that's the mindset they came into this game with, whether you want to focus on one game at a time or the entire season. But when you really think about it, when you play these next 3 games against teams that are right around you in the conference, you have to win. As Miles Taylor tries to force a pass to Kuda Savage on the far side. Ends up almost hitting our athletic director there in that corner, John Waters.
Yeah, he and Coach Kadelka over there. Of course, Coach Kadelka, head men's lacrosse coach, just returned from Jacksonville for their training camp. They'll get set to gear things up against Ferrum February 11th. Hope you tune in to LHSN for that home opener.
Graham on the drive. The mid-range jumper is good. Great move by him and a great offensive possession from Randolph to get really their first true bucket in this game. I know they have a couple, but still. The three-pointer from Wagner, not one that was really drawn up as Miles Taylor drives, finds Hargrove. Great slip pass to Jordan Parham, and the layup is up and good. Jordan Parham, a guy who we thought would rely on his three-point shot, getting inside and really making things happen for himself.
Yeah, Parham, guy not afraid to take some shots. He's a streaky player. At times, he's really come up huge for this Lynchburg team. I think about the Eastern Mennonite game, which to this point, the lone win at home.
Great transition basket there, and you see just how important Kuda Savage is to this team.
Yeah, I tell you what, he might not have the most impressive stat line on the team, but having had a couple classes with him, just interacting with him, just such a, I mean, you can just tell that the coaches trust him, all the teammates respect him, everybody likes him. He's just, when he's on the floor, there's a calming presence to this Lynchburg team.
Hunter Verling knocks down that mid-range jumper and gets his first 2 points of the game. Kuda Savage now at the top of the key, takes that screen from Elijah Davis. He'll fire a three. That just rims in and out, no good. Kuda Savage, not really known for his three-point shooting, but if you have an open shot like that, you almost have to take it. Here's Graham driving on Parham. Foul on the floor will go against Lynchburg, obviously on Jordan Parham.
Well, as we get a few more free throws here, something we haven't mentioned just yet. Interesting stat when you look at the Randolph side of things. 5 times so far this season they have sent their opponent, excuse me, not at the line here, do get the foul. 5 times this season they have sent their opponent to the line 30 or more times. In those 5 instances, they are 1-4. So certainly a point of emphasis for Coach Scott and his squad tonight.
Yeah, maybe a key I missed at the beginning of the game is a great driving layup there from Ryan Davis, gets him on the board. Randolph kind of doing it all right now, but Jalen Hargrove says, I want some too, but the layup does not go. Tried to go 1-on-3, and a quick skip pass up to Wagner. Blocked. Great hustle from Kuda Savage, jumping over his bench.
Goodness gracious, Andrew. I didn't know that Hargrove could jump like that.
Well, to be fair, we saw him try and make that layup. He was on the ground. Maybe a little bit of that DK Metcalf meme coming back down the court. Kind of came out of nowhere on that play.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, the hustle from both sides, just up and down the court. Yeah, Hargrove, he's on the ground. He's the last guy to even run back down the court, and he's the guy that alters the shot.
Just great defensive, I guess, looking in the early going. Great move there over Kuda Savage. Layup no good. 2 Randolph players collide. I believe that was Wagner and Davis, but Lynchburg gets the rebound and pushes the other way. Layoff to Hargrove. He's not known for his three-point shooting, so he'll find Davis. Davis to Easton. He is known for it. Back iron, no good. Rebound to Randolph.
Yeah, Easton would be leading the conference if he qualified. Just hadn't taken quite enough attempts yet, but he's been a big freshman get for this team.
Elijah Davis, good on-ball defending. One of our keys we talked about earlier today. I think if he can kind of be a presence and give that three-point shot. We haven't seen him take one yet today, but I mean, on the floor right now, you look at Lynchburg, they have 4 guys that can shoot the ball really well. Kuda Savage can produce for himself as you see him getting inside and now out to Easton. And then Jalen Hargrove is the big body you need on the court. So Lynchburg has pretty much everything they need. Parham, a mid-range jumper, no good, but you like the look of that move. Obviously, Randolph a little worried about his three-point shooting. We saw what he have done in years past, obviously having a little bit of an off year. It was a great move and Euro step from Rayvon Graham, results in nothing. And Lynchburg in transition. Elijah Davis, a pull-up 3. Back iron, no good. And Lynchburg in the early going, struggling from behind the arc. Here's Davis again. Foot might have been on the line, but it goes in.
And everybody in the gym on their feet on that one. Elijah Davis, such a likable piece on this roster. Great article written up on him by John Dell. Shout out to my hometown, the Winston-Salem Journal, just talking about his family connection, Father Hubert Davis.
And an immediate response from Ryan Davis. And Sam, this is one of the only environments where I've really been in here and seen there is an away fan base on the other side that's almost just as loud as Lynchburg is. Kuda Savage, a good move, driving to the basket. The left-handed layup is good.
Welcome back, Kuda Savage. Weren't sure how much we would see him, if we would even see him in the first half. He looks pretty comfortable right now.
Jerry Goodman was good on defense there. Kuda Savage just a little bit better on the offensive end. Goodman maybe trying to make something for himself. Driving on Kuda Savage here. Baseline. Pump fakes. Picks up his dribble. Tries to find something. He'll find Kreider. Kreider, mid-range jumper. Back iron, no good. Rebound to Jalen Hargrove.
And once again, you see Randolph doing what they want to do. They're working it inside and out. They're good ball movement. But it seems like at every turn, there's a Lynchburg player right there in their face, like Elijah Davis there.
And good hustle there by both sides, especially Jordan Parham there to really force that tie-up and get that ball back. Obviously, the ball might have come off of his foot on that dribble, but I believe the ball should end up in the hands of Lynchburg, as we will see quite a few changes here for the Wildcats. Joseph Peters checking in, along with Ty Klingerman back in the game. For the Hornets, Pearson Young and Trey Pittman check back in as well. It'll be Kuda Savage to inbound here with 20 on the shot clock after that tie-up. Here's Young, takes a screen from Pittman. Pittman got to where he wanted to, just good defense there from the Wildcats to force that pass away from Pittman. Savage drives a layoff, mid-range for Pittman, no good. However, he gets his own rebound, makes a drive, and a foul called on the layup. Trey Pittman will head to the line to shoot 2. And just another great hustle play there. Obviously missed the jumper, but followed his shot, got the rebound, and just put one up and said, hey, you're going to have to foul me or I'm going to make it.
Well, absolutely. And, yeah, he's not the top free throw shooter on this team, but he's improved a lot. Really struggled in the early going. I mean, really shooting right around the 25% range. Now he's up to 50, so is off on that first one, but that's clearly something that he's worked on with his game, and just such a talented and gifted offensive player, especially from that mid-range. That was a great look he got, doesn't hit it, but does send himself to the line.
And I think he almost does a little bit better when he's fading away. Maybe just gives him that little bit extra touch, so maybe if he wants to try fading away on a free throw, I'm not sure if he would do that, but maybe a little bit more accurate for him. Either way, Lynchburg up 5, going the other way is Randolph. A quick 3 off the backboard, no good. Pearson Young with the board, and we'll head the other way for the Hornets. Here's Kuda Savage, the layoff to Young. Young out to Savage. Has Easton inside, but good defense by Randolph to close that off. Mid-range jumper from Savage. Had everything but the shot there. And a foul will be called on the floor on number 34 for Randolph, Joseph Peters.
And I failed to mention this when he came into the game. Well, I mean, as you can see, just looking at where he stands compared to everybody else on the court, Joseph Peters at 6'10", he is the tallest player that, unless we see Matt Johnson, that's the tallest player on the court all night tonight. And Randolph defensively does something really cool when he's on the floor. They'll play basically 4 guys on man, and then they'll put Peters in the middle, acting as basically a zone piece where all he does is protect the paint. It's pretty effective, something that they found some success with against Mary Washington, and I'm sure they'd like to find a little bit tonight.
Yeah, and you saw there just the hustle play from Pearson Young. Obviously, mishandled it a little bit, but got the ball back and ended up giving the ball to Elijah Davis, who just could not connect on that three-pointer. But Lynchburg in the early going, I would say that their best part of the game thus far isn't coming on the offensive end, which is where they would usually be coming if they were winning a game. Perry backing down Davis. The mid-range jumper no good. Pittman is there on the rebound.
Well, and for Randolph, I mean, where do you go right now? You've got two of the best guards, at least from the three-point line, in the entire conference, in Phillips and McLeod, who's currently on the bench because he picked up 2 fouls very early. And then, of course, Danny Bickey, who we will not see tonight.
Pearson Young doing a good job there of drawing that offensive foul, whether it was intentional on his part or not, just in the right spot at the right time. It looked like Randolph was going to have an easy basket, but...
Yeah, and we are going to see Phillips McLeod check back in here, which is interesting. Still 7.5 minutes to go here. But it's not really just so much that Bickey isn't here, that he's not playing and you lose his production. The whole team revolves around him, so he's so pivotal and crucial to what they try to do in terms of the screens and the looks that they try to give him. And also, when he pulls defenders away from his teammates, they're able to get a lot more from their fellow guards. Case in point, Phillips McLeod, second in the conference, 47 made threes.
Definitely no slouch from behind the arc as Easton loses it on the way up. Randolph down 5, pushing it the other direction. Klingerman, the mid-range jumper over Landon Sutton is good. A tough shot, but Klingerman brings his team back within a possession. Lynchburg hasn't scored in a couple minutes here, looking to get back on the board. They still do lead by 3. Young driving, the right-handed layup is up and good. And Pearson Young gets on the board for the first time tonight. He's got 2 points.
That was a smooth take there by Young. Big confidence-boosting shot. Good job by him to get inside.
Pearson Young there, an aggressive attempt at the block. He's going to earn himself his second foul of the game, and I would not be surprised to see head coach Hillary Scott take him out after this media timeout. It's 21-16. Lynchburg leads in this crosstown city rivalry, I guess. We'll be right back on LHSN.
My name is Brittany Coleman. I graduated in 2014 and I have a major in chemistry and a minor in secondary education, and I'm currently teaching chemistry and 7th grade science at a local combined school. Being able to have access to your professors pretty much anytime they're in their office is really helpful, especially in difficult science subjects. I love that I am able to teach a difficult subject to students.
Welcome back on LHSN. You see right here, great defensive acumen there from Miles Taylor, and a mid-range jumper with a toe on the line from Elijah Davis. And all of that has come together to give the Hornets a 5-point lead here as we get closer and closer to the end of this first half. 6:54 remaining. But before we can get underway, we'll see Jordan Phillips McLeod shooting 2.
Yeah, and 2 trends that are already starting to emerge that certainly assisting in this early Lynchburg lead, though Phillips McLeod does cut into it a bit there. First things first, the turnovers, 9-1 disparity. Randolph the 9, Lynchburg the 1. And I also just like to point out the blocks. It's not an astoundingly high number, 3 for Lynchburg, but they only averaged 2 on the season. I believe that's good for 10th in the conference. They are getting in the face of these, opposing offensive players, making it tough, and really they've been close to flawless as on-ball defenders, though, knock on wood if you're a Lynchburg fan.
Yeah, and that's definitely a key for him today as Kevon James with the sweet moves and the left-handed lay-in is everything but go in. Pittman goes back up and a hard block there from number 24, Hunter Verling. But they'll get it inside to Pittman. He'll get to go back work on Verling. Mid-range jumper fading away, front iron no good. Pittman's specialty has not been working for him in the early going of this one, but the shots are there for him. Here's Ferguson driving to the baseline. The left-handed floater, no good. Rebound Verling. Lat lay-in is no good, and Trey Pittman is there.
Well, Verling misses on the shot there. He's another one of these bigs, a little bit undersized, just 6'6", but you see he's got some size to him. We talk a lot about the role Elijah Davis serves, not even just with his three-point shooting, but just the energy he brings every time he's on the floor, or even when he's on the bench. That's kind of the same role that Hunter Verling fills for this Randolph team, just praised for his grit, work ethic, all the good things that you want to see as a coach.
Yeah, and he's kind of been producing in one of the biggest battles of this game. I feel like you haven't seen two players quite go at each other as much as Pittman and Verling have, as Alex Fitch can't connect on a three, but there is Trey Pittman with the left-handed lay-in, fighting for that offensive rebound, and Lynchburg extends that lead back up to 5.
Well, you've got to commend Pittman. I mean, he's been active defensively. He's got a block already. 7 rebounds, actually, after that putback. I was about to say 5. Picked up 2 quick ones. And he's only got 5 points, but he is impacting the game. So credit to him, just putting his head down and doing whatever he can for this team.
Yeah, and only starting 1 for 8 from the field, so not necessarily ideal, but all the shots that he seems to be taking are ones that you would normally see him make, at least in some sense. Here he is at the top of the key. Now James pump fakes on the near side wing. Great find inside is Alex Fitch, and a strong finish brings that lead back up to 5.
Tell you what, I hope we get to see the replay on that last play at some point, because I tell you what, this Lynchburg team at times has struggled to move without the ball. Heck of a cut there, getting open down low by Alex Fitch.
As Kyle Ferguson says, I can do one better, and knocks down a 3 in the face of the Lynchburg defender. Brings that lead that Lynchburg has back down to 2 points. Taylor takes a screen from Fitch, backs off, takes pass to the corner, Landon Sutton for 3. Rims in and out, and Miles Taylor just tosses aside the smaller Ty Klingerman. Klingerman 5'10", Miles Taylor 6'5", so a little bit of a height advantage there, but you never really want to see that, because now it's going to lead to a 1-and-1 on the other side, and Randolph is going to have a chance to at least cut this game to at least 1 point or tie it.
And like I mentioned earlier, Klingerman, he's the type of guy, he's not going to go away. As long as there are seconds left on the clock, you are going to get every bit of whatever energy that he has got. Just somebody that Coach Hamilton's been really, really pleased with how he's come along this season.
Yeah, Ty Klingerman shooting 80% from the free throw line. Not many attempts, however. That's just his 11th attempt on the season. Knocks down the first one, cuts that Lynchburg lead to just 1 point. We've seen quite a few different people step up for the Wildcats today. So that second free throw ties the game, and we'll see number 10, Ryan Davis, check back in. Davis has 5 points for the Wildcats, leading that team. They're sharing their points pretty evenly across their entire roster right now. Sutton guarded by Phillips McLeod. Takes a double screen there from Fitch and Pittman. Fitch now driving towards the basket, has an open Elijah Davis, can't find him. It almost looked like he tried to get it out there, but lost the handle. It eventually went out of bounds off of a Wildcat, so it'll be Lynchburg ball with 15 to shoot.
I was wondering we were going to get to start seeing some of those double high screens. Saw Lynchburg run quite a few of those against Randolph-Macon. That's, of course, a team that has a lot of size to it. Randolph does as well, so we'll see how much they utilize that as the game goes along.
Landon Sutton steps on the sideline there, just kind of a waste of a turnover there, but obviously 25-25. There's still, 24 minutes left in this game, so one possession or one bad possession and one turnover is not going to be the end of it. But in a tie game where it feels like Randolph might have most of the momentum right now, it definitely does not help.
Yeah, slight little extended run for Randolph. Just do the math. Lynchburg gets out to the 8-0 run, so that makes it, 25-17 mini, well, not a mini run, but extended run for Randolph. They'll add to it there. I believe that's their first lead of the game.
Phillips McLeod, a great jump shot, which was closely guarded, but Elijah Davis wants to respond. Nothing doing on that shot, and Randolph, after getting their first lead, looks to extend with just over 3 minutes remaining. Here's Phillips McLeod again. Out of bounds. Off of Randolph. It was saved there by Alex Fitch. They were trying to figure out if it was tipped on the shot, it almost felt like it wasn't, at least from up here. But then again, I wasn't as close as Alex Fitch was to that play. Hillary Scott, not exactly happy with him diving out of bounds. It could have ended up in a turnover, but Lynchburg ends up with it either way.
That was just incredible athleticism and just basketball IQ from Fitch. He gets himself in the air, about to go for the ball. He's kind of pulling away from it. I think he might have seen the official on this near sideline to us saying that it was tipped, and he, is able to make that save.
Elijah Davis there called for the foul. It looked like pretty clean defense until he put that hand down on who I believe is Micah Kreider, a first year. Someone that head coach Pete Hamilton was very high on, definitely stepping up for this Wildcat team.
Yeah, Kreider's a guy that, he can really drive anytime he's pressured, by an on-ball defender up close. Yeah, really his game post-Christmas, just stepping right into the fold, getting a minutes increase. Yeah, somebody that Coach Hamilton's been happy with on both sides of the floor, and just a freshman, hailing from close by, Liberty High School product, Bedford, Virginia. So local guy, I'm sure he knows a little bit about this rivalry.
An 89% free throw shooter knocks them both down. Number 10 for Lynchburg, Trey Ilabare, checking in for the first time today. Haven't seen much of him thus far this year. Alex Fitch, now Davis, finds Ilabare on the near side corner. Gets it inside to Hargrove, trying to make it work, but he'll lose the handle and nearly foul Rayvon Graham, but did a good job of not fouling him. Here's a quick three from Ryan Davis, no good. Rebound tipped around. Landon Sutton was there, but Ilabare will get himself in the stat sheet with a rebound. Elijah Davis driving, pump fakes at the free throw line, finds Hargrove, who gets his defender up in the air and misses the bunny.
Yeah, that's a tough miss for Hargrove, but I've really liked his play so far. A lot of hustle on both ends of the court, and he's a little undersized at 6'5", going up against some of these Randolph bigs, but just playing hard, putting himself in position. Hate to miss that one. That's a pretty easy one in close. Would have cut this lead to 2, but got to just move on.
Yeah, he did a great job of getting his defender up in the air, and honestly, it was surprising that his defender didn't foul him, and it almost seems like he could have just gone straight back up and had a chance for the and one if he would have made it, but obviously you live and you learn, and I'm sure next time down the floor he'll learn from that. You see another freshman checking in for the Hornets as that free throw from Micah Kreider goes in. That freshman that is checking in, Jaden Walker, hailing from Lynchburg, Virginia, 6-foot guard. Again, another guy who we haven't seen much of, so maybe Hillary Scott saying, well, you guys are going to not play with Bicky, he's hurt, but we're going to bring out something that maybe we have that you don't know about and maybe try and find some points that way. But we're going to take a quick break with 2:20 left. 31-25 is our score. Randolph currently leads.
The biggest thing that I've taken from Westover is probably my interactions with faculty. I started working with Dr. Fryer. He's always available for help, and he makes sure that I get to do the experiments and not just be there while he does them. I didn't want to limit myself when I came here to just taking the prereqs for med school. I wanted to get a full, well-rounded education, and I definitely found that in the Westover program. It's given me the opportunity to keep playing soccer at a competitive level, but also it's given me the ability to be a student and to pursue other activities such as EMS. "100% do Westover because it's not something they're going to regret, and it's going to be a lot of work, but so is everything else. It's just going to help build their education that they've already had and make them a better person for it."
Welcome back inside Turner Gymnasium. Head coach Hillary Scott wearing some definitely interesting shoes here today with a very good cause. Sam, you talked to him earlier. Can you tell us something about those shoes?
Yeah, it's a nationwide event, Coaches versus Cancer. Tune into any basketball games across the country this week, regardless of division. They call it, I believe it's sneakers with suits. And of course, yeah, all the coaches on both sides, something that they certainly care about. Getting awareness, raising awareness, both for cancer as a disease. Everybody pretty much has been touched by it in some form, and also hopefully bringing awareness to hoping to find a cure here as soon as possible.
Yeah, and a great cause, and it's great that we can stand up here on this broadcast and talk about just how great of a cause it is and that everyone in this gym truly cares about that. Obviously, this game and the game on Saturday counting towards that for the Hornets.
Absolutely. I'm up here. I've got my red sneakers on myself. Shout out to my mom. It was a Christmas gift, so sporting the Lynchburg colors and joining in the cause as well.
Jaden Walker getting his first touch of the game with 3 to shoot. He's going to have to make something happen. The mid-range jumper does everything except goes in, but who's there other than Pittman on the rebound? No good. Gets another rebound. That one tipped out of bounds. It looked like number 30, Micah Kreider, smacked it out of the hands of Trey Pittman, but the referees disagree with that opinion, and it'll be Randolph basketball.
I really like the poise there from Walker, though. That's, it's a freshman that hasn't played a lot of minutes this year. He's come into the game today. Coach Scott looking to mix things up and getting down right there at the end of the shot clock. He has the awareness to get the shot off, creates a little space for himself. It doesn't quite go in, but it might be a little confidence boost, just, kind of falling into the fold of this game.
And just the trust that would come from head coach Hillary Scott for putting him in such an important game, as there's another mid-range jumper that's no good, but the rebound goes to Rayvon Graham, who makes up for that miss with a floater, and Randolph has their largest lead of the night at 8 points. Walker, now Davis, now far side Ilibare. He'll find Parham, the ball goes out of bounds to Randolph. Everything thus far in the last couple minutes just seems to be going amiss for Lynchburg. And Randolph doing a good job of capitalizing on that. Lynchburg only shooting 28% from the field. And Randolph not doing much better, shooting 35%, but obviously in a game where neither team is scoring much. And Lynchburg started out playing such good defense, it's tough to really find yourself in a hole this big.
Well, Coach Scott talked about, the turnover troubles that they've had recently. You want to at least get a shot every possession, if possible. See the tip in there, great follow by Wagner. But, yeah, we saw that 9-1 disparity, and as soon as we talked about that, we've seen 5 straight turnovers, make that 6, committed by Lynchburg. Randolph has shored things up in that aspect. We know this is something that's going to control the outcome of this game.
Yeah, and Lynchburg down 10 right now. They need a bucket, and it'll go a long way here if they can just put the ball in the hoop. Cut this lead and take that momentum into halftime. Defense chant does come from Randolph on Lynchburg's home floor. Maybe something to fire Lynchburg up. Here's Walker inside the dance to Pittman, and a walk. Pittman would say that it was tipped, but I disagree. The referee was standing right there, and Randolph will get the ball with 5 seconds remaining here in the first half.
Yeah, and that looked like it might have ended up being a bit of a broken play. You saw Elijah Davis come out to the, the right side of your screen, top of the front court, the back court rather. Certainly imagine they probably wanted to get him the ball. Being the three-point shooter that he is, he draws a lot of tight man looks, especially recently. Drew one there as well, so it ends up just kind of falling in the hands of Pittman.
Here's Phillips McLeod on the baseline, knocks it down, and the foul at the buzzer. Jordan Phillips McLeod, we haven't seen much of him in the first half, has sat on 2 fouls for quite some time. He's gonna have a free throw to make it an old-fashioned 3-point play before we head into halftime. And this game has really flipped on its head. I believe Lynchburg was up 25-20. And this is a Randolph run that is stretched out to 17 points. Phillips McLeod has a chance to make it 18. And he doesn't. So maybe a little bit of hope for the Hornets as we head into halftime. But it is a 12-point lead for the visiting Randolph Wildcats. When we come back around halfway through this halftime break, we'll walk through the team comparisons and check out some of the highlights from this first half.
I was looking for a school that could provide me with the athletics, academics to pursue my career, a wind symphony to pursue my passion for music, and really have a nice general atmosphere. The professors here are really unique, their background and their passion for teaching. It's really a place where you can explore. Lynchburg gives you the opportunity to fail, but also get back up in that period of time and learn from your mistakes. I can make these mistakes within the school environment, but also with the support of other friends, and be ready for the real world when you graduate.
You have a great look. Let me just tell you that. I know you don't know me yet, but I want to work with you.
I'll get a picture real quick.
He has no heart, no passion. He looks lost now. Yeah, thanks, man.
Just once more, and you came and you took control. You touched my very soul. You always show me that loving you is where it's at. You made me so.
Lynchburg really stood out for me just because of the way it treated its students. They really do make an effort here, and I've learned that over my 4 years is that they actually do try to listen to what the student body wants, and they try to act on that. They don't really just give you a piece of paper here to go off and do your own thing. They actually prepare you to work with different populations, which is what the world is all about. It's just working with people that are different than you. They genuinely care that everyone has the ability to go off into the world and make a difference with whatever they like. For me, that's just being basically in a room with someone helping them achieve their first goal of, I don't know, doing a pull-up. I actually do believe they want you to do the best you can to change someone's life for the better. You can be anyone here, which I think is really cool. But regardless of who you are here, they will make sure you don't fall through the cracks, which is awesome. I have realized that I've never felt lost here. I will not regret ever coming here, that's for sure. So I'm very glad that I came here. Yeah, it's actually pretty awesome.
My name is Jen Hyde. I graduated in 2018 and I got my major in philosophy, political science, and I minored in human services. And career-wise, right now I work at a residential treatment center for juveniles with sexually reactive behaviors. I would say the biggest advantage is definitely that it is a small campus. You know, you get to have that one-on-one with your professors. They're willing to help you out. They're going to get to know you more than just a student that they're teaching. You know, they really invest into your lives. Definitely use every resource that you can kind of get at Lynchburg. There's tons of mentors within the professors, the faculty, the staff here, your peers that are here. You have so many options that you can take. There's so many classes, you know, even if it's not within your major, if there's a class you're interested in, take it. Kind of explore your options because Lynchburg does have such a wide variety of different things that you can do. You know, be involved, become a well-rounded individual because Lynchburg sets up the support to where you can do that here.
Welcome back to Lynchburg, Virginia, where we have a cross-city matchup between the Lynchburg Hornets and the Randolph Wildcats. We'll take a look at these team comparisons from the first half. Randolph has a 12-point lead, 37-25. They finished the half on a 17-0 run. Not exactly ideal for the home side, but what kind of jumps out for you on this page?
Well, Andrew, I've got three main things, and they all really come from my conversation with each of these two coaches pregame. Okay, Danny Bickey is out. Just take that part away from it. Everything else that we talked about surrounded free throws, turnovers, and the perimeter. Well, Lynchburg's getting beat on the perimeter. They've only gone to the free throw line 3 times to Randolph's 10, And despite holding a 1-9 turnover advantage, they go into the half with 7 straight, which basically started after their last made shot with about 5 minutes to go.
Yeah,
if you're losing those 3 main aspects, it's going to be hard to translate that into a lead on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I completely agree. Definitely not the ending to that half that Lynchburg was looking for. They came out really hot, and the energy in this building was something that we haven't really felt all year. Obviously, everyone felt the matchup and the importance of the matchup between these two teams today, but obviously head coach Hillary Scott's been here for some time. He knows the meaning of this matchup, but so does Pete Hamilton. They're both going to come out with some great changes to make sure that their team at least is competitive coming down the stretch to try and get this victory. And we'll see when we come back in the second half here on LHSN.
At Lynchburg, we don't fear change. We embrace it in our students, on our campus, in our community, and around the world. We're building on our legacy of always moving forward. It's the same place with a new name. Welcome to the University of Lynchburg.
A lot of people go to the universities to find something to be a part of while getting their education. And when you come here, Lynchburg is that something, it becomes a family. It's what this school's really good at doing.
I'm Warner Baxter, and I'm a CEO against cancer.
And I'm Lon Kruger, and I'm a coach versus cancer.
I'm Danielle Musselman, co-chair of the Coaches vs. Cancer Wives and Friends team.
Cancer screening is safe, effective, and should be a regular part of your life.
Talk to a doctor about what screening tests are right for you.
The American Cancer Society has important screening resources you can reference at cancer.org.
At cancer.org.
Cancer.org/get-screened.
Regular cancer screening can save your life.
My name is Brittany Coleman. I graduated in 2014 and I have a major in chemistry and a minor in secondary education, and I'm currently teaching chemistry and 7th grade science at a local combined school. Being able to have access to your professors pretty much anytime they're in their office is really helpful, especially in difficult science subjects. I love that I am able to teach a difficult subject to students who typically aren't going to perceive it as enjoyable. I'm able to present it in an interesting way because I was presented this information in an interesting way. It's nice for me to be able to mirror what it was that influenced me to be able to teach.
The biggest thing that I've taken from Westover is probably my interactions with faculty. I started working with Dr. Fryer. He's always available for help, and he makes sure that I get to do the experiments and not just be there while he does them. I didn't want to limit myself when I came here to just taking the prereqs for med school. I wanted to get a full, well-rounded education, and I definitely found that in the Westover program. It's given me the opportunity to keep playing soccer at a competitive level, but also it's given me the ability to be a student and to pursue other activities such as EMS. 100% do Westover because it's not something they're going to regret, and it's going to be a lot of work, but so is everything else. It's just going to help build their education that they've already had and make them a better person for it.
I'm Warner Baxter, and I'm a CEO against cancer.
And I'm Lon Kruger, and I'm a coach versus cancer.
I'm Danielle Musselman, co-chair of the Coaches vs. Cancer Wives and Friends team.
Cancer screening is safe, effective, and should be a regular part of your life.
Talk to a doctor about what screening tests are right for you.
The American Cancer Society has important screening resources you can reference at cancer.org.
At cancer.org.
Cancer.org/get-screened.
Regular cancer screening can save your life.
The American Cancer Society and its Coaches vs. Cancer program remain committed to those whose lives have been touched by cancer. Many cancer patients and survivors have had to suspend their cancer treatments and screenings during the pandemic. But cancer hasn't stopped, and neither will our efforts to support Coaches vs. Cancer and the American Cancer Society's fight to end cancer. Visit coaches.cancer.org today to learn more. Since the American Cancer Society's Coaches vs. Cancer program began over 25 years ago, college and high school coaches have raised more than $140 million to continue the fight against cancer. But they won't stop until cancer does. You can join the team and learn more at coaches.cancer.org or follow AT Coaches vs. Cancer on social media.
Yeah, certainly a great cause we touched on a little bit throughout the game that certainly means a lot to each of these two coaches. They both brought it up when I spoke with them earlier, and just really cool to be able to get something, that everybody can be on board with across the whole country. It's a time of a lot of division, so just very cool that despite being competitors, everybody can come together in unity on this particular issue.
And I think it's really important to look at, this is a rivalry game. It doesn't get much more hostile than this. And to come together for a game where it means the most to these players and these coaches, and to just kind of own this thing that they're doing it's very important.
Absolutely. Just saw, as we do start to turn back to basketball, 30 seconds till the second half, just saw something that I have not seen all season from this Lynchburg team. All four coaches remain on the bench. It looked like it was Kuda Savage in the middle of an entire team huddle. Just a great example, players trying to, lead one another. See how that, results on the floor, but definitely something we haven't seen yet, and excited to, see that kind of come about.
And I think it just points to that senior leadership in all of these seniors. Kuda Savage, Kevon James, at the start of the year we talked about where is this leadership going to come from? They're such an inexperienced team, but then you look up and down the roster and it's senior. Pearson Young started today, but other than that, it was 2 seniors and 2 juniors. So the leadership and the experience from all these guys is there. Just they're close to finding that one piece of execution that'll push them over the line and get them inside of that ODAC tournament cut line.
Yeah, and Kuda Savage, just kind of a tough season for him, kind of in and out of the lineup. He's played a pretty good game today. Really awesome to see him back. He's missed the last 4, but yeah, just great for him. His senior campaign, just a couple games left in his collegiate career, so giving it everything he's got.
Goodman misses on the 3 there for Randolph, and an opening defensive stop for the Hornets leads to a bucket from Trey Pittman. His 7th point on the night. They cut that lead to 10 points. Obviously, a point of emphasis for the Hornets to get Trey Pittman that ball around the mid-range. And obviously, we talked about it over the halftime break. These coaches are going to be great coming out with different changes. Here's Wagner shooting a 3 in front of his bench, and that one falls. Coming into tonight, Landon Wagner 1 for 9 from behind the arc. He's made 2 tonight, doubling that total. Again, just making me eat my words from earlier, and that lead climbs back up to 13, the largest of the night.
I was just about to say, Andrew, I dare say you may have jinxed him back into productivity for Coach Hamilton's squad. He's looked good tonight.
Well, either way, Lynchburg comes down and gets a good bucket courtesy of Miles Taylor. 2 solid possessions to start the second half for the Hornets. Miles Taylor unable to corral that rebound. But they've also looked pretty solid on the defensive end. Obviously, you give up that 3, but you're forcing them to take those perimeter jumpers, which is what they were doing in the first half. They were just falling for the most part. I believe Lynchburg did play really well in the paint. Obviously, you see the bucket from Miles Taylor there once more.
Yeah, Lynchburg actually did hold a slight advantage in the paint. I believe it was 16-10 going to the break. It's 18-10 now.
Landon Wagner almost made another one fall. Instead, that ball touches about every part of the rim and doesn't go down. Young wants to shoot. Instead, he'll drive. Spinning and throwing it up, and a blocking foul called. Pearson Young will head to the line to shoot 2.
Yeah, that's a great job by Landon Wagner on the other side. Yeah, he gets called for the blocking foul. I believe that's going to go against Phillips McLeod, though. Wagner, hustling back down. We saw the three-point on one end. He's more so known as a post defender, his presence down low, and he showed it off there, even though Pearson Young will shoot free throws.
Yeah, and just obviously you see it in the early going of this second half, just Lynchburg going out and trying to score in the paint as opposed to trying to shoot threes, which we saw them fire off 15 in the first half, and when only one falls, obviously something has got to change along the way. Pearson Young knocked down the first. Second free throw up and good, and that lead cut back down to 9 points, just a couple seconds shy of 2 minutes into this second half.
This is what you have to have if you're Lynchburg. I mean, Andrew, we talk about how loud the opposite side of the gym was when, Jordan Phillips McLeod hit that shot right before the buzzer. They erupted. There is a great Randolph contingent here, again, right across town. But we saw it in the men's soccer ODAC championship, I believe, what was that, last year. They get out and over here to Lynchburg, and not only that, they are loud and passionate. Great fans over there at Randolph. You got to take some of the wind out of their sails if you're Lynchburg.
And another great offensive possession for the Hornets, already looking like a different team. But, yeah, to your point, I think Randolph, I mean, not any offense to them, but this rivalry means so much considering that this is their crosstown rival. Everyone kind of looks over them in the conference. And if Randolph comes out here, obviously last year they came into this building and got a win as well. If they came out here and really proved that they can make the tournament, I mean, it would be big for them. As Alex Fitch knocks down a 3, and that 12-point lead is cut down to just 4, short of 3 minutes into this second half.
This looks just like what we saw coming out of the first half. It looks a lot like what we saw against Virginia Wesleyan in this building earlier in the season. Do give up a bucket there. But, yeah, they come out firing, get a couple of buckets from, Alex Fitch, and on a team where you don't really have one true guy. You don't have a Danny Bickey like Randolph does on a normal night. You certainly got to find somebody on any given night to kind of step up and make those shots.
Yeah, I completely agree, and we're going to take this break with them. 42-36, Hornets trail. We'll be right back on LHSN. Welcome back inside Turner Gymnasium, and the Hornets on a bit of a run of their own. We saw Randolph close out that first half on a 17-0 run, but thus far in this second half, Lynchburg looking like a different team. They still trail by 6, but obviously looking forward. We'll check out the men's schedule coming up. Here's Miles Taylor bringing the ball up the floor. Good one-on-one defending here from number 5, Ty Klingerman. Alex Fitch had an open 3, but they'll call an offensive foul. Good practice shot for Alex Fitch. Maybe he can use that later on. But that is the 3rd foul on Miles Taylor. We'll see how long Hillary Scott wants to leave him in there. Obviously 16:57 left in this game.
Yeah, Alex Fitch averaging just right around 5 points on the season, but he's really come on in the last 2 games. He's carrying that on into tonight. Only Hornet in double figures so far. He's got 11.
And a great defensive stop there for him on the other end. He's got 11 points tonight, and I feel like he can account for more than that just because of his defensive stops as Miles Taylor drives to the bucket and the foul.
Coach Kadelka along the baseline giving the and one symbol. He was fired up on that shot. Miles Taylor, he knows how to take it strong to the basket, puts his head down there, gets the edge on his defender, goes up strong, and he is rewarded with the old-fashioned three-point play. We'll see if he can convert at the line.
Yeah, and we saw early in the year Lynchburg struggled coming out of timeouts, coming out of breaks. But now, I mean, the last couple of games, Lynchburg has come out really, really hot out of breaks. Coach Hillary Scott obviously realizing maybe there was something that was wrong with maybe the program, or maybe it was just Kuda Savage in that huddle at the start, just saying, hey guys, look, like this game is meaningful to us. We need to figure out a way to find a win here, because if not, I mean, it's an uphill climb from here. Either way, the Hornets back within 3. Wagner on the drive, and a foul will be called, I believe, on Trey Pittman on the floor.
Yeah, Pittman got his arm there. Really surprised that Wagner didn't just go ahead and take that shot from the top of the key. He's in rhythm. Nobody's in his face. He's made 2 already. I mean, what the heck? Go ahead. Put one up.
I mean, for someone, though, who gets the ball inside quite often in Landon Wagner, I think it was a welcome sight to see an open paint. Obviously, he just blew right by Trey Pittman, but Pittman did a good job of, I mean, obviously you don't ever want to foul someone, but that was an easy basket if he got by him, and now you force him to play a little bit more offense, and another foul there on number 0, Kuda Savage. Just his first of the game. Team's 3rd foul in this second half. Randolph gets it in. The pass a little deep, but no Hornet was there to corral it. Perry has the ball, far side wing, takes another screen. Drives baseline on Fitch, nothing doing. Kreider kicks it out. Graham drives, now inside to Wagner, and an offensive foul called on Graham. Kuda Savage in the right place at the right time, sacrificing his body for that play, and the Hornets, within a possession, have a chance to possibly tie it here. Obviously, you see it right there, Kuda Savage in the right position, squared up, not moving his feet, and the Hornets down 3, looking to cut this lead to nothing or to at least 1.
Yeah, back and forth we go. Lynchburg opens the game on an 8-0 run. Randolph injects a 17-0 run there late in the first half, and now for Lynchburg, a 14-5 run. Make it 16-5. Trey Pittman finishes in close. A little confidence boost once again for him, picking up his game here in the second half. But yeah, now a 16-5 run. Don't want to overuse the term game of runs, but I do believe we're seeing one right now.
Yeah, and obviously right there again, you see Alex Fitch, just a great defensive possession. Pearson Young forcing up maybe a shot in transition you wouldn't really want to see. But Alex Fitch has really gotten it done on both sides of the ball. Kevon James now really good on-ball defending here in this possession. 19 to shoot. Jordan Phillips McLeod calls that screen from Kreider. You won't take it. An offensive foul.
And we got to take a second right here and just commend the job that Kevon James has done every time he has been in the game this evening. He's a bit of a streaky player, definitely more so known on the offensive side of things. This is a Lynchburg team that has not been great, at least statistically, defensively this season as a whole. He has done a phenomenal job guarding Jordan Phillips McLeod when he is matched up on him, just right in his grill.
Pittman does well to handle that pass from Savage. He'll find Young on the free throw line, who drives on his defender, kicks to Fitch for the 3. Rims in and out. But a foul called.
That was a little bit late.
I agree, a very late foul call. I'm not sure. I think it was in the act of shooting.
The Randolph fans, they do not like it. Don't hear boos in this gym very often.
Yeah, I think there you saw in that replay, it just like looked like the Randolph defender might have landed in the space that Alex Fitch had to land after that jump shot, and a call that is not necessarily liked around the country, but it definitely is a foul.
Yeah, and just to clarify, not in any way, criticizing the ref there. It's just, I personally thought it was a foul watching it in real time. It just wasn't called at first. I'm like, okay, we're going to move on down the floor. And then we do hold up play.
And Lynchburg retakes the lead 43-42 since around the 4:50 mark in the first half. Randolph takes a quick three from Goodman, back iron no good, rebound to Pearson Young, and they'll get out and transition the other way. Young quickly slows it down. Kevon James, a three in rhythm. Side iron no good, rebound goes to Ryan Davis.
I know that's a quick three, and Lynchburg has not had their shot from deep tonight, but I really don't mind that shot from Kevon James. You have all the momentum. Yeah, like you said, he's totally in rhythm, top of the key. That's a very makeable shot.
Ryan Davis fires a three of his own. That draws nothing. Lynchburg out in transition. Alex Fitch gets fouled. I believe he might have been looking for a pass for Kuda Savage on the near side wing. We'll see if they give that a shooting foul or a foul on the floor. Kuda Savage thought it was on the floor, but the referees agree that that ball was in the act of shooting. So Alex Fitch back to the line.
Yeah, really not sure that Fitch was looking to score, but he was in the air. Gets contacted there and draws a trip to the line.
Not converting on the first attempt, but the Hornets still lead by 1 point. Alex Fitch, 13 points thus far. Kevon James getting a little bit of love over there on the sideline. Definitely commending him for his one-on-one ball defending on Phillips McLeod. Randolph needs a bucket. They don't have any momentum. Here's Goodman. Now Graham. Graham at the top of the key finds Ferguson. Ferguson back to Goodman. Not much ball movement. They'll get it inside to Verling. Verling, the left-handed lane is up and good.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, if you're Randolph right now, you are on the wrong side of a run. You've got to find a place where you can exploit a strength of yours. One of those is down low. Lynchburg just does not have a guy that at least on a just straight size matchup can compete with the 6'6" Hunter Verling, at least not on the floor right now.
I completely agree, and Jalen Hargrove saying, I can compete with it. He goes straight up and makes that layup and extends that lead back out to 2 for the Hornets. Jalen Hargrove has 6 points on the night, doing a really good job in the paint today, as there's going to be a foul on the floor, I believe, called on Pearson Young. A little bit confusion, maybe thought it was a baseline there for me, but foul on Pearson Young is his third.
Yeah, it looked like that's where the official was pointing, but back to that point on Hargrove, one thing that he does have going for him that he has put in full display today is his athleticism. He has jumped out of the gym on several occasions. You can create a lot of shots for yourself if you're able to, jump like he can.
Kuda Savage, great on-ball defending there on Phillips McLeod, but he finds Jerry Goodman, who knocks down that triple, and the Wildcats regain their lead at 1 point.
That's a massive shot for this Randolph team. Goodman, first points of the game. He's been held quiet. It's a really valuable guy for this team.
And Kuda Savage responds on the other side with an old-fashioned three-point play attempt. He saw his defender slip down, took the advantage going to the basket, and Hunter Verling was caught in the air. Kuda Savage, as shifty as he has been, you had to imagine that one was going in.
Draws a standing ovation from the Lynchburg side of the crowd. I tell you what, if you go to the University of Lynchburg, you probably know who Kuda Savage is, probably had a class with him. Everybody knows Kuda Savage, just really can't say enough good things about him. He is a fan favorite.
And he does convert on that three-point play, so it's a 2-point lead for the Hornets, a little back and forth game for us on LHSN. Goodman now, guarded by Kevon James. You get by him, but Kevon James will commit the foul. That one will just be the 5th on the Hornets, but the 3rd on Kevon James. We'll see what head coach Hillary Scott thinks about that.
Yeah, so now switching off on this man defense is going to be Kuda Savage that will guard Phillips McLeod. That is a little more even size advantage. Kevon James breaks on the ball, lays it in on the other side.
A little defense turned to offense. Kevon James has gotten it done on the defensive end, and he just got his first 2 points as a result of it. As Jalen Hargrove is called for a foul on Jerry Goodman's drive there. I believe it will be on the floor, however. Should be just the first foul on Jalen Hargrove, but you see there, a little defense turned into offense. Kevon James calm in transition, laying it up and in.
Kevon James, he has had some really nice scoring outputs, really solid games throughout his career and throughout this season. This is the best game I have seen him play all year. Just total, complete game. I know it's not been there necessarily in the scoring column, but he is everywhere.
Goodman knocks down the mid-range jumper, created space from the screen from Micah Kreider, and just like that, the Wildcats back within 2, but Kuda Savage driving the rebound. Jalen Hargrove doesn't knock down that layup, but he'll head to the line to shoot 2. And a lot of fouls in the early going of this second half. 8 fouls already on the Wildcats, which puts Lynchburg in the bonus already. And the Hornets already 6 fouls committed against the Wildcats, so the next foul against the Hornets will also put Randolph on the line. It's the first free throw from Jalen Hargrove, up and no good.
Yeah, that was one of our keys to the game. I have no doubt that when this Lynchburg team went to the locker room, that was absolutely a point of emphasis from Coach Hillary Scott, is to get to the line. You know, if nothing else, take more free throw shots than your opponent. They're known to commit some fouls. You got to make sure you can exploit that if possible.
Yeah, and Lynchburg, we talked about just how much they were shooting the three-point shot in the first half. They've only taken 2 in a little over 8 minutes here in the second half. So definitely a different look from this Hornet team and showing you that they can do both. Oh my goodness, Jalen Hargrove showing off his athleticism once again. Kuda Savage did a great job of defending it, and Jalen Hargrove came in to clean it up. Jerry Goodman caught in the air, and Jalen Hargrove said, "Give me that." But Phillips McLeod trying to respond, nothing doing. A long rebound out in transition is Miles Taylor. He'll throw it down.
We don't see many dunks in this gym, but when we do, oh boy, are they electric.
Miles Taylor gets out in transition, forces a timeout from Pete Hamilton, and the Hornets have a 5-point lead.
This is the atmosphere that Hillary Scott wanted and talked to us about before they had ever played a game. He told us, we need the student body, this fan base to know the brand of basketball we are going to play. We are going to compete hard. We're going to play fast and physical on both sides of the ball. Yeah, we're going to take a lot of threes, not doing that so much in the second half. But they said, if nothing else, we are going to be an entertaining brand of basketball to watch. This is what they want to be.
Yeah, and Lynchburg just 25 points in the first half. They're already up to 54, so already eclipsing that total at 29 in the second half, and we're not even halfway there in this second half. So Lynchburg showing that they can do it on both sides, getting out in transition now. Little defense turned into offense. It started with Kevon James. It ended with Miles Taylor throwing it down, and now Pete Hamilton is going to have to figure something out as you see the wonderful Lynchburg president there, Dr. Allison Morrison-Shetler. I'm sure she is enjoying this game as much as we are, especially this comeback in this second half.
Pearson Young's father looks like he's got a front row seat to this one, hanging out next to our beloved president. But man, yeah, I just can't say enough about the atmosphere after that last dunk. I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew. I have not seen another moment this season, at least in the home slate, that was that energetic.
No, and especially not out of a crowd or a team that is playing this well. I mean, no offense to Lynchburg, not the season that you would have wanted thus far, but Phillips McLeod will take that three. A high bounce off the rim, nearly goes in twice, but Jalen Hargrove is on it. Davis out in transition. Sorry to cut you off there. Kevon James, the dish to Hargrove, and great defense there by Ty Klingerman. He wanted the ball to go off of Hargrove's foot, but it'll be Lynchburg basketball inbounding from the baseline.
Yeah, haven't talked about Klingerman too much after we did in the first half. Haven't been in the scoring column a whole lot, but I mean, he's a do-it-all. He's a hard worker. He played 3 sports in high school. He was football, basketball, and baseball. This guy, I mean, yeah, he's the definition of do-it-all. You need a bucket, he can probably go get you a bucket. You need a defensive stop, I guarantee you he can do that for you. So see if he comes alive throughout the last 11 minutes of this game.
Yeah, I completely agree. And for Randolph, what do you think they need to do in these last 11 minutes and 11 seconds. Obviously, they're only down 5, so they're not completely out of this game, but the momentum is firmly on our side. And by our side, I mean the side we are standing on, which is the home side of the Lynchburg student section. But what do you think Randolph has to do in order to get that momentum back in the next couple of minutes?
Well, first things first, they're without their star. We talked at the, outset of the broadcast, where are the points going to come from? Well, you can go down low. They've found some success with that, not so much in the second half. But even more notably, they don't really have to leave their identity with Danny Bickey off the floor. Yes, that's a huge loss, and it does affect your game plan, but you've got 2 more very capable scorers from different levels of the floor in Jordan Phillips-McLeod, who has not scored this half, and Jerry Goodman, who, though he has gotten, cooking a little bit in the last couple possessions, he only has 5 points in the game.
Yeah, and it's going to be really tough for Randolph if Jalen Hargrove is playing like he is right now, as the mid-range jumper from Goodman is no good, trying to ride that hot hand. Lynchburg up 7 out in transition. Miles Taylor out to Elijah Davis. He'll find Taylor once more. Calmly gets it inside to Hargrove, who loses the handle. It falls into the hands of Hunter Verling, and Randolph out the other way. It's a 2-on-3. Quick 3 from Phillips-McLeod, no good. Rebound to Verling. He'll go up with the left hand. And that one is no good either. Good defensive possession there from Jalen Hargrove. Kevon James had the 3, but an offensive foul was called after the pass there. I believe on Miles Taylor. That will be his 4th, though. He's been really a key for this team. We'll see how that impacts how Lynchburg has to play.
We saw Jalen Hargrove, we talked about it. He called it the bunny, missed the bunny in close. After securing the offensive rebound, we just saw pretty much the same thing with Hunter Verling. That was a big boy rebound there from Verling, just unable to convert, and those are 2 points that Randolph desperately, I guarantee you, wishes they had right now.
Yeah, and Randolph maybe just trying to get a little bit too much from their guard play at the moment. You touched on it earlier, how important it is to get inside. Is Phillips-McLeod maybe showing a bit of frustration on that foul there. And that'll be his 4th foul. So Randolph, 10 minutes left. They might be without, I guess, their star player that's left. Obviously, Bickey does average 18 points a game. He's not available tonight. Phillips-McLeod averages 14, but now he's on the bench with 10 minutes left. And Ryan Davis has really stepped up in that role today. Obviously, he was the leading scorer at some point along the way. He only has 5 now, but, I mean, someone's going to have to step up for the Wildcats, at least in terms of getting the ball inside and not just relying on guard play and 3-pointers.
Yeah, Bickey's a great player. He's playing at an all-conference level, arguably first-team all-conference level. Leads this team in minutes, scoring, 3-point percentage. You can go on and on about what he brings to the table. But like I was just saying, Phillips-McLeod, he's only made 4 less 3-pointers on the season than Bickey has. He is he's having a top 10 season in Randolph history from beyond the arc. He's a very capable scorer. Goodman, same thing. He's had 3 games north of 20 points this season.
Kevon James got the defender to hit the floor there on that fake pass, but they'll say he traveled before he took that drive. Kevon James, however, we did miss it there. He did have a great box out to get that rebound, to get Lynchburg out in transition on the other side. And I mean, it's really interesting how he has just kind of been a key for the Hornets. We talked about his experience. Obviously, he's a senior. Hasn't played much up to this year, but, I mean, stepping up in this rivalry game.
I mean, when you're looking at minutes overall throughout the season, now there's a bit of a log jam in that column for Lynchburg. Nobody plays more than 25 minutes a game on average. That's Miles Taylor is the leader. But Kevon James isn't even too high on the minutes list this season. But his number's been called tonight, and he has delivered in full.
Ryan Davis out in transition, knocks down that layup after a turnover from Pearson Young. Not something you'd want to see there from the Hornets. We'll take one more look at it, and then we'll go to break. 56-51 is our score. Lynchburg leads, 8:59 remaining. Welcome back to the University of Lynchburg. There you saw the athletic block from Jalen Hargrove, and then Miles Taylor throwing it down in transition. We'll take 2 looks at that. A great play and really energized this crowd and is leading them towards maybe a victory here in the late season.
Yeah.
Lynchburg leads by 5, and they're going to have the ball here, looking to extend that lead.
Yeah, Lynchburg comes into this one. I do want to note, per the Massey ratings, which, you know, if you're familiar with Ken Pomeroy for Division I, the Massey rating, a similar type metric, just does it for Division I, II, and III men and women. Lynchburg has the 8th hardest strength of schedule per that metric. So it's not been an easy road, but Lynchburg's lost 8 in a row. They desperately want to end this spell. It's the longest losing streak since the first season under Coach Hillary Scott. Again, it's an inexperienced group. We knew that this might be a little bit of a different season what we've seen recently, but a win here would go a long way.
A bit of a tie-up there. Ball goes out of bounds. I believe they'll say it was off of Elijah Davis. And, yeah, you talk about their strength of schedule. I mean, if you just look down the list, they played against Mary Washington, who ended up being a ranked team. They went on the road against at time, the #1 team in the country, CNU. They also hosted the team that was ranked #1 at times in Randolph, Macon, and Virginia Wesleyan, also receiving votes. So was Guilford, so was Roanoke, so was Hampton-Sydney. And that's just who they've had to face thus far this year. But they're not showing it here tonight. They leave Elijah Davis open, and you can't do that. Elijah Davis knocks down his first 3 of the game, and the Hornets lead by 8.
Yeah, that was just really odd defensively. They were manned up on him. He's been a focal point defensively, as we've really seen every single game since he started to catch fire from the 3-point arc. And then I guess he faked to pass and drew the defenders off. It was one of the easier 3-point shots he's probably going to get the rest of the season.
Perry, a good move there, just a contested shot. Nothing doing for him, and Lynchburg up 8, looking to extend. Here's Fitch. Pump fakes a 3, kicks it to Pearson Young in the corner. He'll take a 3 and knocks it down.
Alex Fitch from last year does not make that pass. He does not find Pearson Young in the corner. That is an excellent high basketball IQ play. All the credit in the world on that assist to Alex Fitch. That was a beautiful play. Pearson Young cashes in the triple.
And Lynchburg takes that 12-point deficit they faced at halftime. They turn it into a 11-point lead, and we'll take one final break here. 7:16 remaining. Hornets 62, Randolph 51.
I was looking for a school that could provide me with the athletics, academics to pursue my career, a wind symphony to pursue my passion for music, and really have a nice general atmosphere. The professors here are really unique. Their background and their passion for teaching. It's really a place where you can explore. Lynchburg gives you the opportunity to fail, but also get back up in that period of time and learn from your mistakes. I can make these mistakes within the school environment, but also with the support of other friends, and be ready for the real world when you graduate.
Elijah Davis knocks down the 3, gives the crowd a little wave, and the Hornets have all of the momentum here in the closing 10 minutes of this half. 7:16 remaining. The Hornets, who once trailed by 12, now lead by 11 at 62-51. And it's been on the back of a couple different players. Alex Fitch there, that pass gets him his second assist of the night. He's also got 14 points on 4 for 6 shooting. And the Hornets have knocked down their last 2 threes. We only saw them make 2 threes in the first 30 minutes of this game. So if they can add that, it's going to be really tough for Randolph to come back. Here's an open 3 for Ferguson, however. That one no good. Rebound tipped around, ends in the hands of Perry, who calmly lays it up and in. Cole Perry in the right place at the right time. Pearson Young gets doubled by these Randolph Wildcats. Elijah Davis, now Jason Eason, 3-point specialist. knocks it down.
Calm, cool, and collected. You would not know that he was a freshman just by watching the way he plays. Scored over 1,500 career points over at James River High School. Not too far away from Lynchburg. Very, very capable scorer, especially from deep.
And it seems like every time he steps into the game for the Hornets, he gives them a little bit of a spark. Obviously, they don't really need the spark right now, but definitely helpful to extend that lead back up to 12. Pittman called for the foul on the back down there from Landon Wagner. Wagner, his 10th point of the night. He'll get to go to the line to cut this lead back to single digits. It's 65-55.
Yeah, and that's a great take by Wagner. We mentioned that he can go inside, outside. I know he struggled a little bit from the way outside, from the three-point area this year. Tonight he's found his stroke there. He's really displaying that ability that he has, and Randolph really needed that shot.
Yeah, and definitely something that could change the momentum. I think if we were in a different gym right now, the momentum would have changed. But here's a three from Goodman, and of course, he knocks it down.
Two massive shots here from Randolph. We kind of challenged, Goodman and some of these other guards, Phillips and McLeod, to get things going here in the second half. Randolph was going to make a comeback, but they're going to have to pick things up on the defensive end as well.
And a great take there from the freshman from Lynchburg, Pearson Young. Maybe a shot that you might not have thought was a good one until it went in. We'll take one more look at it. The right-handed floater off the glass over the outstretched arms of Landon Wagner. And we'll take one more break, and when we come back, we'll see the end of this second half.
You have a great look. Let me just tell you that. I know you don't know me yet, but I want to work with you.
I'll get a picture real quick.
He has no heart, no passion. He looks lost now. Yeah, thanks, man.
Just once more, and you came and you took control. You touched my very soul. You always show me that loving you is where it's at. You made me so.
Welcome back inside Turner Gymnasium. We'll take a look at Lynchburg's upcoming schedule. They'll be here on Saturday against Shenandoah, a team right around them in the standings, I believe half a game up. Then they'll go on the road and play Roanoke in a very important game on the road, and then they'll come back and play Ferrum and Guilford. Guilford took the first game of that series, same with Ferrum, but with Lynchburg playing like this, you have to feel like they're pretty confident going forward, as that three does not fall there for Ferguson.
Yeah, and on that schedule, obviously every single game is important. You want to win them all. But for Lynchburg, you really got to circle those games against Shenandoah and Ferrum. Those are two home games in a very, very tight race to try and qualify for this ODAC tournament. I think that'd really be a big win, given how things have gone so far for this Lynchburg team. We've touched on them being a little bit inexperienced. If they can rally here late in the season, pick up some big conference wins, utilize the home court advantage, I think that's a big win for the second half of your season.
And a foul there was called on Trey Pittman, I believe, his fourth. So that'll put Randolph at the line shooting a 1-and-1. Doesn't go, but back to your point about that, I mean, I'm sure everyone listening was asking, how do they control their own destiny to make the conference tournament if they're sitting at 1-8 in the conference? But it's because they play three teams that are right next to them in the conference, all with one win. This being one of those games. Pittman takes one of those shots. Easton on the rebound. Gets triple teamed, and he'll find Pittman once more, who backs down Wagner. A cut from Pearson Young. Back to Pittman. Right-handed floater is good.
Ball movement clinic right there. That was just textbook ball movement from this Lynchburg side. Randolph, great job manning up on defense, finding your guy. Cutter's just, you know, it's easy to lose your man when you put in a good cut. Lynchburg had several in that possession, and you get a really easy bucket for Trey Pittman.
Yeah, and it looked like Pearson Young was going to go up with it until he saw Trey Pittman standing there. I mean, 4 feet from the basket, and you know Trey Pittman with that size, he's not really going to miss too many of those opportunities. But I do want to take a quick second to look at these conference standings that we've been talking about thus far this game. Obviously, Ferrum right now in the conference sits at 4-5 in the 8th spot. And then Shenandoah, who we do play next time out on Saturday, sits at 10th in the conference at 1-7 in the conference. And then Randolph, Eastern Mennonite sit right in front of Lynchburg, both at 1-8, which is the same record that Lynchburg has. So, I mean, they're going to have the opportunities. And then on the other side, for the women's basketball team, we saw them play on this court earlier, got a very meaningful win against the visiting Averett Cougars. They're going to have a bit of a tougher road down the stretch. Right now, they sit about 2 or 3 games clear of that 10th spot cutoff. But if they make a good run, they could be within, you know, a couple games of finding that 6th seed, as you saw Coach Kadelka there sitting front row with his team. Something that the Lynchburg lacrosse team here is known for, sitting front row, not only in Turner Gymnasium or out on Schellenberger, but also in the classroom. Coach Kadelka looks to lead that team later on the year, and you're going to be a part of that, hopefully, calling those games, Sam. So should be a very fun year for this Lynchburg lacrosse team.
Yeah, certainly. Really looking forward to the lacrosse season. Kind of our football here on campus. It is certainly a big, big deal, and I think we've got a pretty good team this season. 3 preseason All-Americans on that, on Schellenberger Field.
Alex Fitch sees the 2 from Jerry Goodman and says, I'll raise you one. Knocks down the 3 from the top of the key. And another momentum shifting bucket followed by an offensive foul, which I believe is the 5th on Jordan Phillips McLeod, who Lynchburg had really taken out of this game with foul trouble. And now we can say he is officially disqualified from this matchup with his 5th foul.
Yeah, and I mean, that makes it all the that much harder for Randolph now to climb back into this game. You don't have Bickey now. You don't have Phillips McLeod. I mean, he's gotten it going a little bit in the second half, but not a great night from Jerry Goodman. He has gotten up to 10, but it's been a little inconsistent. They're going to need a lot more from him and these bigs, and they're going to need 1 or 2 other guys probably to step up as well. But it does start on the defensive end of the ball, and they get a stop there. So that's first and foremost.
And I completely agree. For Lynchburg, they just need to have a couple of long possessions. 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this game. You're up 12. You don't really have to force up shots early in the shot clock. So if they just do that, I think things will take care of themselves. But Randolph is going to need to make something happen and maybe even result to getting behind the arc and knocking down some more shots. Goodman gets the ball taken away by Alex Fitch. It's a 2-on-2 going the other way. He'll pull up in transition and knocks it down.
I don't know that that's the best shot you can get there, but I have to say, I think Alex Fitch is just playing out of this world right now. I don't know if this will go down quite the same as last year's Code Red game against Hampton-Sydney, where he pretty much single-handedly willed this team. I believe that was a 19-point come-from-behind victory. They trailed by 12 tonight. A huge game from Fitch, who's now up to 20. That is a season high for him.
Yeah, his previous season high was 14 at Washington and Lee, as Miles Taylor gets inside and forces the foul. He'll go to the line to shoot 2, but you're right, Alex Fitch, we talked about it earlier, is not a guy we've really seen a lot of this year, whether that's in playing time or even when he's on the court, he's been kind of a non-factor in some games. You see this great move inside by Miles Taylor, doing it on both sides of the ball, but Alex Fitch really stepping up in a time where we need him.
Yeah, he gets the start tonight, certainly making the most of it. And yeah, you see, I mean, he's just really phased back into this roster in a totally pivotal role, and just credit to him. He's come up huge tonight, really from every aspect of the game.
That Lynchburg lead up to 16 points now. Now make that 17. 3 minutes and 37 seconds remaining. That increases Miles Taylor's total on the day to 11 points. Perry on the drive, the right-handed layup, and the foul. Believe that one's going to go against Alex Fitch, who we just talked so much about. Obviously tough to defend a guy like Cole Perry in transition, especially, I mean, they're the same height, but going downhill as opposed to backing up and trying to play defense is a lot different.
Yeah, Perry's a talented wing. Haven't really called his name a ton. Not necessarily known for his scoring averages, just about 5 points a game. But he's second on the team in minutes, leads the team in rebounds, leads the team in assists. Certainly a vital point of this roster. And now down a couple of guys, you know, somebody's got to step up. It's a long road here for Randolph, down 15 with 3.5 to go. But they're going to need every contribution they can get.
And Randolph has done a really good job of getting rebounds off of free throws if there's something to highlight for them tonight. Miles Taylor finds James in transition. He'll lay it off for Fitch. We thought he would pull one more. Instead, they get it inside to Pittman. Pittman gets it poked away, however, and Ryan Davis gets one more steal to add to his total. He drives and loses the ball on the way up. Pearson Young was playing defense there. Young calling for the ball, telling him to slow down with 3 minutes left. No need to go push and maybe give Randolph a chance to get back into this game. Obviously, at the end of the first half, for comparison, they did score 17 points in about 4 minutes and 40 seconds. So they have the capabilities to do it, and we've seen Lynchburg have runs like that before. Alex Fitch passes up that three late in the shot clock. Instead, he'll take this one. Back iron, no good. Rebound tipped out to Miles Taylor, however, and they'll extend this possession by 20 seconds. Taylor doing exactly what they need to do. The ball's poked away, however. Here's Davis in transition. He's laying it up and in. Kevon James was on the chase. Just no point in going up and jumping for that ball this late in a game, especially when the worst thing you can do there is foul him and he makes it and you get an old-fashioned three-point play. Taylor now driving, the left-handed layup, no good. And then tipped over the backboard by Alex Fitch, and here comes Randolph the other way, down 13.
Well, time is their enemy, but Randolph is doing everything that you want to do as they do something else right there. Another three from Landon Wagner. That's his third of the game, I believe. But getting stops on the defensive end, getting yourself to the free throw line. There's a great look from three that you knocked down. Randolph could not be scripting this up much better. Still down 10, 1:48 to go. It's still a tough road, but they're doing what they need to do.
Before Lynchburg, you really hope it's not a case of, well, we've seen this before. Obviously, I just mentioned what happened in the first half, but Randolph, they've been able to get out on those runs, and Lynchburg just needs to realize that there's a minute and 48 seconds left. If you slow down, run your offense, and get a shot, even if it's early in the shot clock, that is a quality shot, then you're going to have a lot of success down the stretch. But 10 points is a lot to overcome in the last minute, 48 seconds. So it'll be very tough for Randolph, but I'm sure they're going to come out with an intensity. I can almost guarantee you it'll be a full court pressure trying to force them into something. But keep in mind, both teams are both in the double bonus, so a foul going either way will put them on the free throw line shooting two.
Yeah, and the free throw, you know, that particular line, that's going to be a slight nod in the direction of Lynchburg. Another big thing to consider, though, these two teams, we have seen 24 men step out on the court and play multiple minutes tonight. It's an average of 12 per team. If this was a Division I scholarship program, that's your whole roster. So these two teams both have deep benches. They have guys that can produce all throughout the depth chart, role players, bench players, starters alike. You can get fresh legs out on the court here late in the game, late in the half like we saw in the first, and not have to give up too much in the, you know, in terms of production, experience, that sort of thing.
And it just shows you how much head coach Hillary Scott trusts his team. Miles Taylor struggles to get it in, but Trey Pittman is down court. You would expect him to slow it down. He'll drive instead and get it blocked out of bounds. Trey Pittman there. Maybe a little bit of a mental lapse. I'm sure that Hillary Scott in that timeout there was talking about, hey guys, let's just take a little bit of a break. If you get the ball back, let's run our offense. And not what you wanted to see, but they do have the ball. They did get it in bounds, which is positive. Here's Fitch, and now Pittman, a quick shot. That one rims around and in.
That is a big, big shot. I do, before we get too much further along into this, you know, closing moments, we talked a lot about Kevon James, Alex Fitch, what they brought to the table for Lynchburg. I think it would be unfair to ignore what Landon Wagner has done for Randolph. I mean, giving his absolute all. He's got 13 points, averages right around 5 on the season. He's got 8 rebounds, a couple of huge blocks. He's been great defensively. That stuff's not always even going to show up on the stat sheet. So great all-around game from Landon Wagner. Just fantastic from the junior center.
Yeah, and in that first half, we really saw him and Trey Pittman going at it. I mean, kind of creating one of those matchups that you don't see every single game. Obviously, you see them there matched up with each other on that free throw line. But, I mean, when you see two guys going at it on the court as hard as they have tonight, I mean, it's definitely something fun to watch, and Lynchburg has had the advantage in that category.
Yeah, one thing that's been interesting to note just as this whole game's gone along, especially when Lynchburg's gone on certain runs, the Hornets are a team that has faced a lot of presses. Really, in any situation, any moment in the game, that's something that opposing coaches have felt like they can exploit against this Lynchburg team, make them uncomfortable. Haven't seen that a whole lot from Randolph. And what's interesting is that when they have done it, they do seem to have made Lynchburg a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, and maybe they saw something out, especially late in the game here, where Lynchburg has played pretty well out in transition. Obviously, Miles Taylor's dunk earlier and Kevon James getting out in transition as well. So, and then you see like the threes from the top of the key from Alex Fitch, and I think maybe Pete Hamilton saw that and said, look, I don't want to give up an empty or an open shot just because we want to try and force turnovers in the front court.
Not quite sure how Pearson Young didn't quite toe the out-of-bounds line there. We don't have a great angle on it, but great save from him. Does end up going Randolph's way.
Yeah, 1 minute remaining here in this game as we'll see a foul called on number 11, Cole Perry. And the Hornets can start to feel it in this one. Up 12, 55 seconds left in a game that they trailed by 12 at halftime, and those Randolph fans on the opposite side haven't said much, and I would expect them to be getting up and walking out of here kind of hanging their heads saying, what happened? I mean, we were up 12, and Lynchburg came out and kind of used our energy against us and said, look, this is our building, and you're not going to come do that to us here.
Well, this is going to be a great, great feeling win for these players, the staff, really the whole athletic department. I mean, these guys put, like any basketball team, they put so much work into this like any other athlete, but they don't get the same, winter and Thanksgiving breaks as everybody else. And this is going to be the first home win. It's against a crosstown rival. First home win since right around Thanksgiving. I still had some turkey sitting heavy on my stomach when we saw that Eastern Mennonite game back in November. So this is going to be a sweet, sweet victory over a crosstown rival.
Yeah, and you said earlier we can't not give credit here to Landon Wagner. You see him throw one down. Obviously, we talked earlier, you don't see many dunks, and I feel like if that one would have happened in the first half, it would have gotten quite the reaction. But the big man getting up there and throwing it down, cutting that lead back down to 10 points. But 10 points in 42 seconds is a steep mountain to overcome.
Yeah, never quite impossible with basketball, but with Lynchburg being as good as they are at the free throw line, you have to imagine as long as nerves and jitters don't come into play too much, Lynchburg should be able to ice this one at the line.
Yeah, and Randolph did a good job of putting some pressure on there down the stretch when they cut that lead to 6 or 7, and I think that was maybe a highlight for them in the second half. Other than that, Randolph has just kind of been outplayed in the second half. Coach Hillary Scott came out with a great game plan. Kuda Savage wanted the lob to Miles Taylor now. Just a 1 second difference between shot clock and game clock. I wouldn't be surprised to just see them hold the ball and either take a shot or just let that shot clock violation happen.
Well, as we see the seconds tick down here on this one, Lynchburg going to get its 5th win of the season as see Jalen Hargrove's arms go up in relief. That's everybody in this building. Just want to give a quick note. The seniors for this Lynchburg team, there's 4 of them. Noted that Fitch got the start. Turns that into a team high, 20 points, season high for him in the scoring department. Kuda Savage, saw him leading the team-only huddle earlier, right at the outset of this second half. Kevon James, we've talked a ton about his on-ball defending. He's been great defensively. And then, of course, Jalen Hargrove comes in, gives a ton of energy, just electric performance offensively and defensively, showcasing his athleticism. Just can't say enough about this senior class. It's not senior night, but this one means a little something extra to them, and they don't want this season to end with a sour taste.
Yeah, their last chance to play in this crosstown rivalry on their home court. Maybe left with a little bitter taste in their mouth from last year's game where Randolph squeaked out a win. And this one, it just seemed like Lynchburg wanted it more for the first 10 minutes and for the last 20. Randolph did have their bit of that run coming down the stretch in the first half, but Lynchburg overall, a very impressive performance to build off of going forward. And now getting to 2 wins in the conference, depending on how things fall the next couple of days, they could be already in that position to move forward into the tournament. And a Lynchburg team that plays like they did tonight, I would not want to face up against. But we will take one final look at the stat line for some of these players. Landon Wagoner had 15 and 8 rebounds. Ryan Davis had 11. Jordan Phillips McLeod had 10, and Jerry Goodman also had 10. And then on the other side, we've already touched on Alex Fitch's career season high of 20 points. Trey Pittman had 13, Miles Taylor had 13, and Jalen Hargrove had 9. And we just saw that presence from him in the paint to show that he was going to be here and make that space his own. And you can see just how much it means to these seniors. So we will be back here on Saturday when Lynchburg faces off against Shenandoah, another team around them in the conference. Till then, we say thank you to our great producers over there, as well as thank you guys for watching. Lynchburg wins 83-71 in the Crosstown Hill City rivalry.